Lapin Lounge, Episode 3, with talented artist Tsuki Moonbunny. Let's get into it. So, my first question for you is, what got you into VTubing?
Well, as many of you know, I'm a very overworked bun, and I love to play video games, but I haven't found time to play video games for like the last year. Whenever I felt like I was playing video games, I felt like I was wasting my time and I could be doing something more productive. And so I never ended up taking time for myself to play games. So I just figured that with my ridiculous personality, that if I started VTubing, I would have a reason to have to play video games. And then maybe I would get my list of to play games actually knocked out.
See, that does make a lot of sense, honestly, because I feel a similar way in that before, when I started to... There was a point in time where I liked playing games a whole lot more than I do now. And it feels very strange to feel past that. Like, I'm not the oldest person in the world, but I'm significantly older than I used to be when that time was going. So I used to look forward to, like, every day when I got home playing some sort of thing. And it feels strange, but I think I just burned myself out on that. And so now that I have both more and less time for that, it's like a weird dichotomy. Like, I know exactly where my time is, but I don't know that I want to spend it on that. So having an excuse to play games, like, I just don't do it in my free time at all anymore. At best, it's like I'll fire something up that's low power that I can do while watching something else, but I can't really think of a game that I would just like sit there and play offline anymore.
Yeah, for me, I along with making mochi, I work with little buns, and I have independent contracts with places, and the independent contracts are on my own time when I'm not at work. So it like, if I let myself, I will just work myself to death.
Yeah.
So feeling like I'm obligated to like sit back, hang out with people, and play a game is kind of freeing in a way.
It's almost like scheduling relaxation time in a way.
That's exactly it.
Because like, it's not something you were going to do before. So it's like, you might as well pencil it in with everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think unfortunately that makes a lot of sense, because I'm not really that great with scheduling, but I know that if I don't make myself do something at a specific time, I just won't. I am perfectly fine to just sit and watch things for like hours and hours.
Yeah, I do that as well.
But you know, it's like, once long form content entered my life, like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, I don't think I've ever looked back since. So it's like, I'll just sit and watch something and, you know, live vicariously through other people doing other things. And if I don't make something happen for myself specifically, then I'm perfectly fine watching somebody else have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, once you've kind of backed yourself into being a VTuber, you feel like you have to do something, you know?
Exactly. And now I have to play the games I want to play.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm wasting my time by doing it. So it's nice.
Yeah, it's for something now. But would you say that you had somebody specific that inspired you to get into VTubing?
I wouldn't say that there was anyone specifically that inspired me. I started messing around with Vroid for fun, and very quickly I started to have an idea of what I wanted to do and like what I wanted it to look like. And Vroid limited me a lot. And how I wanted my model to appear. So I started whipping up some sketches that were, looking back at them, they were terrible sketches. But while there wasn't really a specific person that like inspired me to get into it, I do have a friend. This is a IRL friend that started VTubing right before I did. And so when I sent her my Vroid stuff and my sketch, she was like, "You need to do it. I'm getting up to my debut, and like you should do it as well. It's a lot of fun."
That's cool.
And their name is Kai Plakes Koi, and they're super awesome, and I love them, and we went to the same school, and yeah. So they're great.
So having a bit of a counterpart kind of, I would say that is probably somebody specific that you can actually talk about and share that with. And I don't think that's all that common, honestly.
Yeah, it just so happened we were both kind of looking around and looking at it at the same time. She was more focused and like intense and like, this is what I'm gonna do. I have this all planned out. And I was just like, I just have an idea. Maybe it'd be fun. And she's like, just do it. You need to do it. So, yeah. So she didn't inspire me to start, but she inspired me to commit to my idea.
Yeah, to continue it rather. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think the only thing comparable in my life in particular would be the fact that I did start out more in the art scene online, and I would every once in a while I'll check like an old place, DeviantArt or something like that, where I used to follow an artist, and then I would just check their socials again. And I would look at their Twitter, and they would have become a VTuber. And it's happened so many times to me now that it just feels like a natural progression for when you've already been doing digital art for so long and you want to kind of transition into not just doing art streams, but being able to do other things. It's like, well, the most sensible thing that you can do is put your digital art to use and make some kind of model and live through your characters.
Yeah, and model making isn't easy, that's for sure. So it's awesome to be able to put art skills to that good use. I struggled a lot with my model because while I can art, it's very hard and very time consuming. It doesn't come naturally to me. So for people it comes naturally too. I think it's super awesome, and I think it's really awesome that you do a lot of art.
I do think I come from the school of like being able to train myself to do certain things, because I know that I didn't start out this way at all. Like I remember not being able to do digital art, but I always did like little doodles and sketchbooks and stuff. So I feel like there was a foundation enough there to where I had to hammer in stuff like anatomy. I had to make myself understand that and practice it in order to get to where I'm at. And I don't think I could, I don't think I could go any further per se, because it's like, I would have to get so specific on how to improve things that I think I'd drive myself crazy.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think I maybe used to want to improve on art a lot more when I was coming up in it, but I reached a point where it's like, all right, I'm good. I'm good with what I can do.
Yeah, I'm a little more self-critical when it comes to my art, so a lot of times I end up just not liking what I end up making. So getting my model to a point where I was happy with it took forever.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And I relate in the sense of like when I look at something that I used to do, I keep only looking at like very tiny bits of it that are wrong and like that I could do better. But I still don't look at any of it in shame, because I know that it was the best that I could do at the time.
Yeah.
Or I remember the circumstances in which I did it. And sometimes, they weren't exactly favorable, because I used to do a lot of art requests for other people.
Gotcha.
So a lot of free work for people and a lot of like suffering long hours for what I thought was going to get me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of didn't. But
Mm.
I mean, it was all a part of the journey. So
Well, part of the journey is a part of the journey.
for sure.
You
Yeah, I learned a lot. It's I definitely learned that DeviantArt does not know what money means.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, do you remember points on that plan?
No, I don't.
Well, there was they had their own point system, and there were people who were basically doing like full commissions for what amounted to like $1.
Oh no.
So yeah, starting up in a place like that kind of devalued my sense of what artwork was worth, because there were always these people that would just like undercut you for, you know, pennies essentially.
Yeah, that's that's
And
not
people just like bending over backwards to overwork themselves for absolutely no
Mm.
money. So if there was any sense of like what a starving artist would be, it would just be that place.
Mm. Yeah, I was never fully in the DeviantArt scene, so I guess I missed that whole part.
Thank goodness. It's not the greatest example of what art is. I don't know if like the whole Twitter art scene is hugely better, but I think overall being the existence of VTubers has definitely elevated the existence of freelance artists,
Mm-hmm.
because it gives them so much more to do potentially.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists out there that are really awesome that I want to commission, but I'm just gonna have to wait until I'm able to, give them what they deserve. So
Well, I think you're also going to have to wait in line behind all the other artists or all the other
Yeah.
VTubers that are like booked or have them booked out to like 2026.
I have one artist that I'm waiting for some art from right now, and I'm really excited because the sketch is super cute.
Mhm.
And it's the one piece of art I've commissioned so far just because I saw their wait list was filling up and I was like, oh shit, I gotta get in now.
Yeah, I see that so often, and it like having finally started to get to starting to get to a point where I can do budgeting. It breaks my heart that I have not been able to just like regularly commission people like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And now being a VTuber and having more of a reason to do so, I have so much less money to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me sad because it's like I'll see people opening up. I saw somebody who did concept art for some super big VTubers out there was open for like 3 days this past weekend. And I was thinking like, oh no, I get paid Tuesday. I'm going to miss that completely.
Oh,
But it's just like, it was this close and they're probably not going to be open until like next year.
yeah. Dang.
But, I can also do concept art myself. So it's like, you kind of have to weigh your options of what you can actually do versus what you want other people to do. Because I know I can't do every kind of art style, but there's definitely things that I could be doing that I haven't been.
Yeah, I definitely got really lucky with drawing my model because the VTuber I mentioned earlier, Kai Plays Koi, we had so many voice calls and video calls where she just helped me figure out the hair because I knew what I wanted. I just couldn't draw it for the life of me.
Yeah.
And she helped me out so much. She would give me sketches and be like, this is what you need to do. And I'd go back and I'd basically copy or mimic, what she had shown me. And that's the only reason my model looks how it does, is because she saved my butt.
Yeah, honestly, drawing fluffy looking hair is really, really hard to do.
My descriptor for her was round, so she did
Yeah,
a
just
good
like
job.
round. Yeah, I think it works, honestly.
Yeah, from my rough sketches. They were rough.
Yeah, that's why I call them that for sure. I still remember I had like a million different methods of trying to do rough sketches, and some of them were so incomprehensible that it's like I could never give this to somebody because nobody would understand it. It's just like so vague and like a random silhouette. It looks like a cloud. Like there's just so many ways to start a drawing that don't make any sense until the later stages.
Yeah, I just sent you, on a side note, I just sent you my old Vroid model that I started with.
Oh. See, I can see how that turned into this for sure.
Yeah, they're pretty similar.
Yeah. But it's hair in particular is so difficult to make not super flat in Vroid.
Yeah, I almost tried to teach myself Blender, and then I started messing with Blender, and I was like, oh
That's a
no.
lot. It's a whole lot.
It was
the
not
only
nearly
reason-
as intuitive as VTube
No,
or
no,
Live
no.
2D. Even
It's-
Live 2D is easier than that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, okay. I know that you probably understood this, but like Blender is already a very, very complicated program. I've been seeing it since I was like maybe 12 or so, and seeing it grow into like a bigger and bigger program. It's been kind of crazy, but when I was in college, I learned on an even harder 3D program called Maya.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's by the Autodesk company, and it's okay, imagine opening up Blender but then like taking every single possible action you can possibly fit for it to do and then shoving it at the top. That's basically what the UI was. It's like you had these million different buttons at the top that you had no idea what they were doing, and you had to have an entire textbook tell you what all the buttons did.
Oh my.
So yeah, it was basically like Blender but for programmers.
Yeah, no, see, I know that I could figure out Blender because while I'm a silly bun, I would like to think I'm a pretty smart bun.
Well, for
But
sure.
I just realized how much time it was
Yeah.
going to take to get to where I wanted to be with the software that I was like, I just have to go a different route because this is going to be, you know, X number of hours to just get the basics down. And then, you know, I'd be investing so much time in it that it would have been all consuming.
Yeah, and it's like if you can see that amount of time and versus what else you could be doing, it's like once you've weighed the options, it's a no-brainer. Like 3D is very, very specific and time consuming, and I still remember that while I was learning it and even in the classes and everything, with being able to ask questions to the teacher and to peers and everything, it still took months and months and months. And like, I don't think I ever really got humans down until like the third time I tried to make a human. Like, it's really, really difficult. And it was really rough, but it taught me anatomy because I had to sit there sculpting it painstakingly, dot by dot, trying to sculpt everything into place. But that was just like, it was insanely time consuming. So that was probably the right call, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, even with my 2D, I still haven't figured out, I would say, like, general anatomy as good as I would want to. But, you know, once again, it's better than the alternative would have been, so.
I mean, you look human enough, I would say.
Room for improvement, though. There's always going to be room for improvement.
Of course. But, you know, art critique and stuff aside, What made you choose a bunny theme?
Well, I think bunnies are cute, and when messing around with Vroid, did see the little bunny ears as an option, and
True.
I just kind of fell instantly in love with the idea of the bunny ears.
Yeah, I would say that makes sense.
But Vroid wouldn't let them be floppy, so
yeah, you do have that option
now. As floppy as I
now.
wanted.
But yeah, I think you have to manually. Okay, so here's what I did to make these ears, and to even have them move like they did. This is hair.
Oh.
Yep, this is hair sticking up.
Oh.
And so I textured it a little bit to look like ears. And so the only reason it's like floaty enough to like flop around like this is just because it's hair.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but at the same time, I want rounder ears and like fluffier looking ears. But in order to do that, I would have to do a lot to these ears.
We're back to the problem.
Yeah, you have to go super backwards to do anything in the program. It's very, very possible. Like I've seen people do insane character design stuff with Vroid now. But some of it's updates, some of it's like cheats, some of it's using hair in ways it shouldn't. Like I made 2 tails for somebody by making them out of hair, but they're technically not attached to them, but they kind of move as if they're attached to them. It's really strange.
Huh. But yeah, bunnies are good.
Mm-hmm.
And also they're scaredy cats, and I am too, so I mean it kind of works.
That's 3 for 3 on people ascribing the personality traits of a bunny to why they chose them. It's interesting.
Well, bunnies are cute, and then also, how often have you seen a wild bunny that has not instantly tried to run away? It's very rare.
That is true. And I would probably say the same for myself. If like somebody's trying to come up and talk to me, it's like, all right, time to go.
Yeah, I have people walk up behind me and just say the word boo, and I crumple right then and there because I'm just easily startled like bunnies are, so.
Yeah, I can't play horror games and stuff like that.
I can't do horror at all.
Yeah, I don't even think I'm scared per se. It's just like, why would I subject myself to this voluntarily, you know?
Mm-hmm. I would be thinking about it like every hour of the night, and like I'd wake up and be like, am I good? Am I safe? Is everything okay? And I'd panic, and then I'd eventually calm down enough to go to sleep, and then I'd wake up and it'd happen all again.
It's weird though. I can still detach like watching it happen to somebody else, I guess. But then there's so many games that do jump scares, and that's like right at the screen. So I still get scared along with them anyway.
Yes, agreed.
Or startled, rather. There's a big difference. For sure.
Yeah, there is. Well, I'm easily startled and scared, so.
Yeah, so it all works out. Wait, so what made you choose the time in which you stream? I guess that should probably be kind of obvious.
I mean, I stream after I'm done with work and everything like that. So it's just a convenient time. I also just like to chill, so yeah.
Yeah.
No complicated answer here.
Yeah, for sure. I think the nighttime streams and stuff like that have always been a little bit more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really play anything that I feel like would be better played during the daytime, I guess.
Like spooky things?
Yeah. Although I guess probably some people prefer playing those at night so they can get even more scared, which I also don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I'm with you.
If they're like trying to maximize the spookiness and, you know, have the lights off and everything.
I mean,
like, that's just not how I grew up.
It's one thing to say, like, good job for trying to commit to the ambiance, but not for me.
Yeah. And I think it's like, it's at night. I don't like making a lot of noise either. So if I'm just like screaming in the middle of the night, that just seems inconvenient for everybody else.
Yeah, I accidentally did that the other day. I felt really bad. I got a little
Yeah,
too loud. Probably burst some eardrums over stream. Oopsie.
noise complaints, like that idea terrifies me as well.
I mean, if one of my neighbors can have a dog that barks all hours of the night, I don't think they're gonna worry too much about me screaming for like a minute or two.
I mean, true. Like if they're already doing all that though, I don't think I'd be able to get a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
I still remember there was a time where a neighbor of ours had this yapping dog that like every night at 2 a.m. would just start going, and it would go for like an hour.
Oof.
Now, granted, I'm already, that's like an hour before bedtime for me. But, you know, 4 a.m. is kind of pushing it these days, I would say.
Yeah. Sure.
But what kind of games do you play?
I like to play a lot of open world games where I can explore. I've been playing some Subnautica. That's the one that made me scream a lot. This last time, the Reaper came for me. It's a big squid dude, kind of. Is he a squid? I don't know. He's a Reaper. But I ventured too far in his territory, and then he broke my sub, and then I was trying to get out of the way, and everything caught on fire, and I was panicking just a little bit, trying to get my fire extinguisher because my planner's blocking the fire extinguisher. I broke all of the ocean laws. I couldn't get the fire extinguisher.
Well, I don't know a ton about Subnautica. I've seen like screenshots and things, and I know the general premise, but all I know is that being down at the bottom of the ocean is equally as scary as anything else to me.
See, I love the ocean, and being deep in the ocean doesn't freak me out, but the fish in Subnautica get real big. Like, way too big. And they're very aggressive. And I'm a scuba diver, and I chase sharks, okay? I'm a shark chaser. So the fact that, these things in the game are like coming at me at like high speed, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but Subnautica I like to play. That's also great because I'm a science nerd and I love anything with science, and they get so nitty gritty on science with Subnautica. It makes me really happy. So they'll talk about different biomes and ecosystems, and they'll talk about, different adaptations that the different organisms have, and you can get like a full rundown of the biology of each organism you encounter. And I love that. I think it's super cool.
So you would be the type to actually look at the logs of a game like this?
Yeah.
And like the character descriptions and the things like that?
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, I play Genshin because that's also kind of open world. And I like the lore there. And then I've been playing Hollow Knight, which is not something that I would normally play since it's a platformer, but I would say it's also kind of, well, it's not open world, but it's got a big immersive, it's got a big immersive world, and the art's beautiful, so.
Yeah, it's got a lot of environmental storytelling and characters and stuff like that too.
So yeah.
Wait, so did you get into the Star Rail game?
I got into Star Rail, but I am not caught up with everybody, just because I've been really focused on trying to catch up on Genshin.
Fair enough.
Genshin had the desert, and I'm sorry to the desert, but the desert bored me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just so much sand, and I got tired of just sand and sand, especially after coming from the forest where there were lush caves and like, yeah.
I'm sorry, but there's very few ways to make desert scenery more interesting unless you really, really try and twist it around on purpose and like add giant structures to it, or they big landmarks.
Yeah, they gave us a nice big landmark in the middle of the desert. that's essentially a giant pyramid. And then they added a new part onto the desert that I didn't know about that's actually a little bit prettier and more interesting.
Yeah.
But because the big, flat, boring desert was what came before going to the fun little area that I didn't know about, I just didn't get to it. And they're releasing a new world soon. So I had to be caught up.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Oh wait, that's actually tonight, isn't it?
11 p.m.
Yeah, not too long.
At least
from
EST. But I'm gonna be asleep.
Aw.
But I'm gonna stream it tomorrow because I'm ready.
Yeah, that's fair.
When I get back from work, I'm gonna get on the computer and I'm ready to go.
At least you have something to look forward to. You know, something to get you through the day. Another probably hot day.
Hot day. It's too hot. Bunnies don't do well with heat.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I have to freeze out the house in order to get to sleep at all.
Same.
If it even gets if it gets like 2 degrees too hot, I start waking up.
72 is when I get warm.
Yeah, and I'm forced to be on 75 most of the time.
No.
Because I don't live here alone. But if I did, it would easily be in like 68. I would do 68.
I would probably do like 70 or 71. Just 72 is when I get hot, so.
Yeah. It's it gets irritating, but it's one of those reasons why I do wish summer was just not a thing at all. I just wish it was gone.
Fall? More fall?
Yeah. We could have more spring. We could have, well, you know, I don't like spring either.
Spring gets too hot, and then the pollen comes, and then the pollen murders all of your sinuses, and then you sneeze, and then you have drainage, and then you cough, and you cough, and you cough, and you're just miserable the whole time.
And even as somebody who doesn't, like, who miraculously doesn't suffer through those particular symptoms, what I don't like is seeing every single creature that I was glad was dead and gone return all at once.
What creatures?
Insects.
Bugs are good. I have a moth collection.
But
I pick up all of the dead bugs and I keep them.
But mosquitoes love me.
Oh, yeah. No, mosquitoes love me too. They're the one bug that can go to hell.
Yes. And unfortunately,
ticks.
Instead of... Oh, yeah, ticks too. But instead of going to hell, they go directly all over my body and I can't find them in my sleep. So I'm just chewed up in the morning and it's I can't find this one thing. So I have to wait out its lifespan in order to have any relief. And then by then, another one has taken its place.
Yeah, I work outside a lot, so I am constantly covered in itchy bug bites. This summer, it wasn't the mosquitoes that got me, though. The spiders found me.
Really?
The spiders found me and 2 coworkers, and we were all so itchy.
Wow. I didn't even know that bites caused itchiness.
Well, whatever one bit us did. We had little fang marks, and we all got super itchy, and we all went home and took Benadryl. And then we came back to work the next day, and we were like, wow, we were itchy. And I was like, I took Benadryl. And my boss was like, me too. I also took Benadryl. Are you covered in spider bites? And I was like, what? And then I talked to another coworker and they were like talking about something. And they're like, and then I went home and took Benadryl and fell asleep. And I was like, why did you take Benadryl? And she said that she was very itchy. So all 3 of us were completely eaten up by spiders.
Wow. Wait, what is the correlation? I've never taken Benadryl. What's the correlation there?
Benadryl for allergic reactions. So we thought we were all having some sort of allergic reaction to something. Personally, I was dizzy a little bit. So that's why I figured I would take Benadryl, because I was like, I'm itchy and I'm dizzy. Like, maybe it's an allergy thing. So.
All I know is that I hear of people taking Benadryl and like seeing spiders. So. What? You know.
For like
hallucinations and
that's not good.
Yeah, you know, you hear things about that medicine. I didn't know it was just supposed to be allergy medicine.
Yeah, it's allergy meds.
Wait, so the fact that it makes people sleepy is a side effect, not a main effect?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's basic. I think it's mostly antihistamines. I'd have to double check what specifically is in it, but there's several things. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
they can make you they can knock you out. So
Yeah. I've definitely had to have those kinds of medicines before, but not really like the NyQuil type stuff, just melatonin.
mm.
And it doesn't really work. Bad dreams sometimes.
Oh no.
Yeah. Although I do think, would you say that bad dreams are better than no dreams at all? Because I get kind
No.
of frustrated with that.
I would say bad dreams are bad dreams. Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, it kind of depends though. A bad dream can be pretty exciting.
I think it's a kind of exciting I don't want in my life personally.
True. Like if I was chasing bad dreams, then couldn't I just watch more horror movies?
Yeah, you could. It'd probably work pretty well.
I think so. Honestly, the last times that I had like a very notably bad dream, it was when I was watching somebody play Five Nights at Freddy's. And for some reason, even those goofy things, they scared me for a little bit.
I mean, they're pretty aggressive with their jump scares.
True. And like, it's not even like it's scary as a game. It's just like startling and I guess atmospheric before the startle happens.
Hmm.
And then you're just completely helpless, so there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah.
I guess you could liken that to a dream. And then the fourth one where they all had really sharp teeth.
Yeah, I haven't watched much of Five Nights at Freddy's besides like just little clips of Markiplier screaming. So
Well, you're not missing much. Honestly, a lot of the things that copied it afterwards did it a little bit better.
I looked up some of the lore. That's a thing that I do for spooky things that I
Hmm.
can't handle is I actually just go and I Google the lore and I read about it. And I'm okay if I'm just reading it, but seeing it gives me problems. So
Oh.
I've read some of the like backstory and stuff for Five Nights at Freddy's, but I can't watch it or play it.
Wait, did you ever do it for like Resident Evil or Silent Hill or
Yeah,
things like that?
yeah.
I do
I've
feel
read
like,
up on Resident Evil. Yeah.
yeah, Resident Evil's a really interesting one because it's almost just like an action game, but with horror elements almost. Like the seventh one is probably the scariest one, but other than that, I don't really feel like they've never really gone for like specifically horror type gameplay, I guess.
Yeah,
Because you
I
can
think
always shoot back, you know?
yeah, I think my hesitation with Resident Evil, besides the fact that it is like a scary game, is like for some reason it is in my like classification of zombies, and I
Uh-huh.
hate zombies.
Oh, see, I like that
So
opinion.
yeah, it I don't know. It's somehow in the same world. Like I know that's not what it is, but like it gives that vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, for some of them, even though it's like a genetically engineered monster that resembles a zombie, I guess, or like a virus that affects a human that turns them into a zombie, it's all really kind of the same stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Same
way that
product,
it
different
does,
storytelling.
yeah, it's just like it all goes to the same place pretty much. So even if they're trying to be like, oh, it's a super soldier serum that went wrong or whatever, it's just it goes to the same place, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're at the zombie trope again, and it's like, how can this be done in a better way? And I guess Resident Evil always has like a character kind of focus to it. So you kind of get involved in the goofy story and the one-liners and all the interesting characters. So there's a lot that distracts from the fact that it's zombies, but then once you get to the remakes, it's just like HD, hyper realistic, gory zombies that you're trying to fight. And I've
Yeah,
never really been that big on gore
I
myself.
am not a huge gore person, but also I think wasn't there a new Resident Evil movie coming out? And but TikTok is stupid. I hate TikTok. I actually
Uh-huh.
love TikTok. But they give me ads I don't want to see.
Yeah.
And I think at some point they gave me a trailer and it no bueno. I did not like. Not good.
Yeah. Once they start getting into like its graphic detail, and it's not like I don't judge the people who like it. I know there's a lot of people who have a different level of tolerance for that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But I would liken it to like a stylistic thing almost, where if I'm suspending disbelief by already playing a game, I don't really want to see all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So even if you're having like a fancy fight between two characters, I don't want a fight that lasts 1 second and like their head gets cut off or something, because that's just like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I would rather have a fancy fight like Soul Calibur where, you know, they're dueling on a platform and knocking each other off and doing crazy special moves. Like, I would rather it be, you know, a little bit more fantasy type of stuff.
Yeah. Or maybe it wasn't a Resident Evil movie, but it was some spooky thing.
Yeah.
Same concept, different name.
Yeah. They do a lot of similar stuff these days, I guess. But I would not know because I've not really watched horror movies unless they were in like a watch along setting where, you know, there's like a Discord chat on the side and everybody's like making fun of it and talking over it or whatever.
Oh yeah, I can't even do that. I have a rule for scary stuff. It's a silly rule, but it's a rule that works, and so I stick with it. The rule is this: if I lock myself in the bathroom, and whatever the bad thing is has to break down the door or break down the wall, I can watch it or play it.
Huh.
But if I lock myself in the bathroom and it comes up the drain, or it's suddenly just in there with me, or it's in the mirror, absolutely not. I will not watch the film or play it, the game.
You know what? That's very specific, but I feel like it works.
It works. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah. I think probably some of the paranormal stuff is like, it's way worse in that regard. Because you just turn around and it's there.
Yeah, the Stranger Things was pushing a boundary. It was pushing the boundary because I mean, the monsters from the Upside Down could theoretically break between the dimensions in any given location. So there were some moments where I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I don't really know all that much about Stranger Things. I never got a chance to
Really
watch
good.
it.
I consider it more sci-fi, so it gets a pass.
Yeah. Although, I mean, is there a TV show or anime that you've enjoyed recently?
Oh, there's so many animes that I've enjoyed recently. I'm trying to get caught up on Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm the kind of person that I like for the whole season to come out and then I binge it all at once.
Oh, I used to be that person too.
So I'm waiting for all of the like seasons to wrap up. But
yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm really looking forward to watching the rest of that. Right now, I love Chainsaw Man.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot of people getting into that one.
It's really good. I have two different modes when I watch anime. There's I want to watch the cute, frilly, girly shit that has, you know, maybe some romance, but like nothing bad ever really happens. You know what I mean? Like there's no truly terrible thing. And the other mode is like, I'm obsessed with Tokyo Ghoul. It is my favorite thing ever. And that's fucking dark.
Yeah, it's so strange because I have that rule in my brain about like gory stuff and not wanting to see it. But I feel like it's almost more when it's just completely realistic and people are trying to like make it as realistic as possible. I don't like that. But at the same time, when I was younger, I watched Hellsing Ultimate and it was like, oh, this is okay.
Yeah,
like I was completely fine.
For me, Tokyo Ghoul, I'm not as big of a fan of the anime, especially the second season, which a lot of hardcore fans will be 100% with me on that. Second season, basically the author had a backup plot. Season 2 was the backup plot.
What? Wait, like a backup premise of the entire thing?
Yes!
Huh?
It was terrible. It was awful.
How do you do that?
I don't know, but they shouldn't have. So I really like the manga more than the anime. The anime was more like, people trying to eat each other, gore, gore, gore. Whereas the manga, it's like a lot of internal dialogue.
So
And the
more setup
anime
for everything, yeah.
yeah, the anime omits all of the internal dialogue,
Oh,
for the most part. So like I own every single Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul novel, and that includes the light novels that are not manga. I have like a bunch of vinyl Funko Pops for Tokyo Ghoul
Pops, huh?
2.
Uh-huh.
I would get nice figures, but the Tokyo Ghoul figures that are nice are so
Very
expensive.
expensive, yeah.
So I don't
Pops
own
are
any
cheap.
of those. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting though, because I never watched Tokyo Ghoul, but I think something that occupies that space similarly in my brain was when I was into Bleach.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That was my middle school era.
exactly. Same here. And I think that was probably what got me more into the idea of like, all right, I'm done with the anime. It's time to read the manga. Because that was the first time that I ever reached the end of an anime and thought, wait, they're not done. So what do I do now? And then I found the manga, and then I just kept reading. And, I don't know if, did you read the end of it?
Okay, so when I said it was my middle school era, what I mean is that I caught up and then I fell off. And then at some point in high school or maybe early college, I was like, I'm going to catch up again. And then it never happened. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Well,
lost.
you're in luck. It's back.
I know it's back, but I feel like I need to catch up on the other stuff before I watch
True.
the new one.
Probably true, yeah.
And that's like at least 200 episodes, probably, maybe. I don't know. I haven't counted, but it's a lot.
Honestly, though, that's one that I would highly recommend an episode guide of sorts, because there's literal like 30 episode long filler arcs that you
Okay,
can just completely skip.
cool. I
Yeah.
will have to
So
do
it
that
might
at
be
some
100 left. It might
That's
honestly be
possible.
100 left.
That is distinctly possible.
It is going to be a lot easier than catching up on One Piece, so I think you're
I've
good.
never attempted One Piece.
Never
so
tried.
Never tried.
Myself.
I
think
know
I was
that's a shame to many people, but oops, sorry.
It's one of those snobby things that I try to break myself out of this recently, because I know that art style is not everything, but sometimes art style is everything.
I cannot watch Ruby. I know people love Ruby, but the animation style I can't do it. It hurts me inside.
Yeah. There have been definite improvements on probably later seasons of that show, but if you can't get past the first part of it, like, for example, I don't know if you've watched Dragon Prince before, but that is a more recent 3D animated venture, and the first season of it was done in like 24 frames per second, which you would think would look good because regular anime is done in 24 frames per second. It looked slow.
Oh.
Everybody noticed that it looked slow. And so in the second season, they upped the frames per second and everything looked better. So I think there's probably there's more conventions to trying to bring a specific style to 3D animation now.
Kimono
and I think back
Friends,
then
I could do.
Yeah.
Kimono Friends is also kind of that 3D-ish animation, and I was able to do Kimono Friends.
Yeah. And I think the one with the gems was probably also like fairly decent animation. I know that Beastars is also pretty good animation as well.
I want to watch that at some point. I haven't gotten around to it. It's on my long list.
Yeah. It's just, it's darker Zootopia. Whatever.
That sounds pretty good, though.
It is pretty good, honestly. That's what I would say. It's like, even if you took the fact that they were animals and whatever out of it, it's interesting characters. It's an interesting situation. You would have to turn several things into allegories because, the fact that they're animals does play into the story,
Yeah.
but it's psychological at best. So I think it's definitely worth getting into for sure.
Yeah.
But back to games a little bit though. What would you say is like one of the first games that you played?
Ooh, I'm trying to think back. It's gotta be some kind. So this
It
is
doesn't have to
gonna
be the
sound
exact first
ridiculous.
one, but
Well, my first game is Lemmings
oh,
on the PC
mhm.
back in the olden days with the long boot up.
Yeah, the MS
And
DOS.
yeah, I loved Lemmings. I played it all the time. I liked that it was kind of strategy
Mhm.
and it was just a blast. But the games I played most when I was young were Pokemon for sure.
Oh,
And
okay.
I've always been a hardcore Pokemon fan.
Even now?
Even now. Yep. I have all of the newer games. I'm not one of the crazy people that can afford to double dip and like get sword and shield, but like I always get at least one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think even back then, when that whole gambit of doing double versions and stuff like that, when that was more popular, I would still only get one version as well.
Yeah. I did get Emerald though, which was kind of a double dip, but also not because it was also different than, Ruby and Sapphire. So
Wait, wouldn't they sometimes do a third version like that?
yeah, so I
Yeah.
would get the third version. I think I've got Black too.
Mhm.
So I have double dipped in the past, but I was the kid that had the guide. I would have the Pokemon guide,
Wow.
and I would be sitting there with my Game Boy, making sure that I hit every single thing, every item. I was like one of those people, but I've never been a Pokédex completer. I've
Oh,
never done
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I know they say catch 'em all, but like, why would anyone listen to that? Why would
I
not
pick
anybody
my
not just
perfect
like,
team. I
yeah,
curate my team. Even back like in middle and high school, I would pick out all of the Pokemon that I wanted to have on my team. I would pick out what abilities and stuff I wanted them to have, what move sets I'd want them to have. I would plan it all before the game.
yeah,
And then I would catch just those Pokemon and train just those Pokemon up. So I
honestly,
always
makes
had an
sense.
even type balance and stuff like that. That's always been my goal for the games. I've never really switched around parties, and a lot of times my poor starters get ditched.
Oh, yeah. I do feel like that was kind of the case. The very small stint that I had with Pokemon was Pokemon Yellow. And, it was on the Game Boy and it was one with Pikachu,
Mhm.
obviously. But I think all I did was I caught some of the ones that were around, and then I sent a bunch to the PC, and then I got lost and I never touched the game again.
Oh no!
But I think that might have something to do with the fact that I got into Pokemon kind of late.
Mm.
The first anime that I watched was back in 2001, was season 1 of Digimon. And so I was
Digimon!
always, yeah, I was always a lot more familiar with that side of things. Um,
Yeah. I love
and
Digimon.
yeah, I love it too.
I still haven't watched the new movies. I want to so bad with them aged up.
Yeah,
But there's just the movies seem ambitious, and I want to do it in one sitting, and that's ambitious. So I just haven't done it yet.
yeah, I would say that it's worth carving out the time to watch them and to make your own determinations, because I know there's always people who will say one thing or another about them,
Hmm.
but it feels kind of like closure for if you watched the early seasons.
Oh, I need that.
Yeah. So I I will say they've probably started doing a lot more with those than maybe they should. But I have heard recently that they're going to be re-releasing some of the movies as well and redubbing them.
Ooh.
Yeah. They're going to be kind of untangling them as well, because I didn't realize just how much they spliced together some of the movies.
Hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of scenes that we didn't get to see before.
That'll be awesome.
And to the best of their abilities, without use of necromancy, they they brought back everyone. There are some people who have died since then, but
Hmm.
they're reprising as many roles as they possibly can from the movies and the original dub.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a Gomamon Go Pop the other day, and I just about broke and had to buy it on the spot.
Yeah.
Because he was always my favorite.
Gomamon was awesome. Ikakumon was cool too. I think what was the ultimate form's name again?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. I forgot as well. But either way, I feel like more than anything, something that I always wanted to see or from when I was a kid was like they never got their mega forms and things like that. They only ever got to ultimate. So it was always like War Greymon, Metal
I saw a
Garurumon.
War Greymon figure as well, and I almost bought that.
Yeah, there are so many of those. They look nice though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little figure. It wasn't one of the big fancy ones.
Yeah, they
If
do
it was
like
a-
D-Arts figures and stuff
Yeah,
too.
if it was a big fancy one, I'd probably want Angel Woman.
Yeah, for sure. Or Lady Devimon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in my case. More like I don't know. I always liked the villains a bit more. Like if they had one of Myotismon, I'd probably get one of him as well.
Yeah, so I need to catch up on the movies with the aging up, but Digimon,
so-
I had some of those games too.
Yeah. World 1 and World 2. Okay, World 2 was kind of bad, but World 3 was really, really good. I specifically remember that one. And then they had some DS games as well.
I
think those
had
were-
the DS game. Yeah.
Those were a little
one of
bit
them.
more.
I don't know if there was more than one, but
Oh, they just did 2 versions. And then I think they did another one with 2 versions as well, because it was the style of the time.
yeah.
You know,
Pokemon set the standard there.
it did for sure. And I think even over into like my neck of the woods with Mega Man, they used to, the Battle Network series, they had multiple versions as well.
Mhm.
But what would... Okay, so this is probably like the last game question that I can think of.
Okay.
Is there a new game that you're looking forward to?
Would it be a cop out to say the introduction of Fontaine to Genshin?
Yes, it would be
That
a
would be a
cop-out.
cop out. Oh, see, you say a new game. Does that mean coming out currently or like in the near future, or a game that I just haven't got to yet?
Well, near future, one that you haven't played that you want to play, anything like that.
Digimon Cyber Sleuth is really high on my list of games I want to play, but
Oh,
I don't think
yeah.
I've even purchased that one.
Yeah.
Just because it's been really expensive and the sales haven't really done much for that one.
Yeah, they haven't brought it down
So-
a whole lot. They're
That
kind of stingy on that, honestly.
Yeah, that and the Spider-Man Miles Morales seems really good.
Yeah, it does.
But that one also, that's a newer game. Sales haven't been very big there, so.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't even think the port was that long ago for that game,
Yeah.
or for the Spider-Man one. And there's a new one coming out as well. So maybe they'll be a little bit more heavy on the sales after that one comes out, but
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
very much a Steam summer sale or spring sale or, the big
Absolutely.
sales. That's where I buy all my games when they're like, what, $5?
yeah, for sure. And then what ends up happening is like, I'll look at my library and how randomly it's expanded in a direction. And then I'll look at it and I'll think, wait, why did I want this again?
See, my problem is I've just, like before I started VTubing, I was still buying things on Steam.
Uh-huh.
Really wanted to play that were on sale, and then they would just sit there in my library because I never played them
Yeah.
because I felt like I was wasting my time. But I was spending money on games. I just wasn't playing them. So
Yeah. And
now
so
I'm
that was
playing
the
them. I'm
actual
getting
waste of time.
through my list.
Mm-hmm. I think if you probably keep on pace and you don't really have a ton of things that you're like, it doesn't sound like you're one of those people who will look at a game show and think, oh, I'm going to buy that one. Oh, I'm going to buy that one too. Oh, that one looks great. But
Oh, I
if it's
agonize over every purchase.
yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense as well. I think probably the biggest problem that I have though is that I will look and I will find an old game that I used to play on Steam and it's like, oh man, that would be cool to play that again. And then, but then it's like the double dipping of like, I already recognize the game. I recognize the beats of it more than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, oh, wait, I can't really play this again because I remember it too much and I have nothing to say about it anymore. So I have to do new games, but then I have all these fond memories of these old games that I kind of want to show to people, but it's a weird balance to make.
And I stand corrected. I said that it was Digimon Cyber Sleuth, but I have that one.
Oh.
I have that one on Steam. It's
Okay.
Digimon Survive.
Survive.
That I really want to play.
Yeah.
And that's the one where the sales haven't been very good. I think I got Cyber Sleuth for a decent price. I was just checking my Steam because I felt like something I said was wrong.
Yeah, Survive is a lot more recent, and usually when it's a recent game, they don't want to, they'll do like a 10% as a little grace, but
yeah,
that's not even really all that much.
Yeah, I don't really remember what I got Cyber Sleuth for, but like I said, I agonize over every purchase, so I'm sure it was a good deal.
Yeah, I think those I've seen go down pretty far by now. And that one has a sequel as well. I didn't really even realize that, but...
What's the sequel?
Oh, I think it's Hacker's Memory? Something like that?
Huh.
Yeah, that one got a sequel eventually. But they also did a remake of Digimon World, and they released that recently.
I saw that when I was just looking to see what I lied about. And now I want that too.
Lie intentionally.
Well, no, but yeah, Digimon World Next Order.
Mm-hmm. I think it stars a grown-up version of the original kid that was in that game too.
Ooh.
I started playing it a little bit on PS4 because, like, I'm not very much of a console gamer anymore, especially because, well, you know how that goes. Once you're on the PC and you have all this stuff and it's decent enough to play things, it's kind of hard to loop the consoles back in.
Yeah.
Especially after the complete halt of the PS5 and being sold practically and then getting scalped, and it was just really hard to justify that big purchase.
Now, I will say I need to pause for just a second.
Don't worry, we got editing powers.
My cat is screaming and needs food. And I might go to the restroom real quick and then I will be right back. So
alrighty.
If you're cool with that, that's
more than cool.
I don't know if you can hear her.
Oh no, it's filtering out pretty well.
Okay, good. All right, well, I'm gonna mute and I'm gonna be back in like just a minute. So sorry.
It's okay.
I have returned.
All right, 1 second. I'm just getting some water.
Yeah, you're good.
Now, I suppose this probably ties in a little bit with some stuff, but what do you like to do when you're not streaming?
I like to go outside and walk. I also like nature photography, so that's something I like to do. Otherwise, I'm just kind of chilling. Maybe I'll doodle something or play games or hang out with friends. The usual stuff.
Yeah, all stuff I'm not too terribly familiar with, but I've heard of it before, certainly.
I also collect bugs. That one might be a little bit more interesting to some people.
It is. Trust me, I have a respect for bugs. I'm not interested in them per se, but In terms of the things that need to, you know, die or be away from the house, that is specifically mosquitoes for me.
Hmm.
Everything else, I will say I'm not the most merciful bug handler. Wasps to me are probably in that abomination category,
I
whether
do
they
not
should
like
be or
wasps
not.
or bees or anything that flies and stings. They scare the shiitake mushrooms out of me. I don't like
Yeah.
them.
And
They're terrifying.
no, those are kill on sight for me. I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry because I think the last time that a wasp was inside of here, I felt like I was in a rage room because I was just like breaking everything trying to kill the thing. And I'm very surprised it didn't break a window.
I have had to get over my fear of wasps just a little bit because my work office has wasps
Oh no.
and they land in your hair.
No.
Yes. And
That's
sometimes they paralyze spiders, and I feel bad for the spiders because they're paralyzed, but then the paralyzed spiders will drop from the ceiling.
oh no. That just yeah, if you're not into bugs at that point, I think the bugs are more into you because they're just like dropping left and right.
Yeah, I try to be nice to the spiders because it ain't their fault, but the wasps, I have to be nice for work purposes since I share space with them. So we just take
Yeah,
them outside, and by we take them outside, I mean I look pitifully at my coworkers until they walk me outside and take the wasp out of my hair.
honestly, I don't even think I would be in that much of a different position because if I if I get buzzed on like out of nowhere, that's it. I'm running. I don't even know what direction I'm running in. I'm
But
running.
you're going.
But if I'm prepared, if I have the earmuffs on, if I'm listening to music, then I'll go in because I don't really get stung that often by that sort of
Mhm.
thing because I try to be careful, but I also am not outside enough to get stung by that sort of thing. I remember the only time that I've been stung by a bee was when I was little, and there was a bee that flew into a curtain, and I tried to like move it, and it stung my hand.
Mm.
But I don't think I was allergic or anything like that. I just have a vague memory of it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
I've
think
never
ever
been
since then,
stung, luckily, so far. Now that I've said that, I'm gonna jinx myself. But
yeah, it's probably gonna happen tomorrow.
oh
But
no.
you'll be prepared. So you'll be trying to avoid it.
Yeah, true, true. But yeah, I collect moths and stuff and I try to pin them and I'm gonna try to make a little display when I have enough.
Okay. I feel like that's more understandable because there's like pretty patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a beetle too, but I'm scared to do that one because it looks way harder than moths.
Yeah. To try not to damage it and everything.
Yeah.
Hello. Do you have any interest in cooking or baking?
I love cooking and baking, so I
Well,
enjoy both.
what's your favorite dish to cook?
Um, ooh, I really, really like to make pasta. I think it's super fun. And by make pasta, I mean from scratch.
Oh,
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of fun and you can make fun shapes. And I've made pasta with duck eggs before, and let me
whoa.
tell you, that is a whole different culinary world
I've
right there.
never heard of that at all.
Well, you use like for real fresh pasta, you use eggs.
Yeah.
So upgrading to duck eggs, it's so much richer in flavor. It's really delightful.
Yeah, I've never even. I will honestly say it's been like Barilla, like store-bought brands forever for me in terms of pasta. And I've only really just started looking at other brands or, my sisters will sometimes buy some other brand. And it's interesting because I'll sometimes see them have to put the pasta in the fridge.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, well, that must be the fresh stuff.
Yeah,
To
so
some
the
degree.
things that are refrigerated are usually fresh, but a lot of times, if you want to make sure you're getting the really good stuff, look for ones that have egg in the ingredients,
Yeah.
because that's just better in flavor and texture than just wheat and water.
Yeah. I think once I get into that, I probably won't go back to the other ones.
That is a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
I still
don't
use
have
instant just wheat and water noodles sometimes, just because it's quick, it's easy, and doesn't take freezer space. So,
Yeah, I feel like sometimes there's a work environment thing too, where it's like if I need to make something quickly, then I
Mhm.
will eat below my normal threshold of like what I would cook. Because if I just need to make something really fast and I only have an hour or whatever, then I'm just gonna pop something in. And I don't even have a microwave at home because it's one of those things that finally, I mean, at first it was just literally because our microwave broke. But what happened after is that it taught us more how to use the oven and the stovetop and everything. So the only reason we really learned how to cook, I mean, I say we, like me and my sisters, learned how to cook is because we couldn't just pop in frozen meals anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, I also really like making drunken noodles, and I've recently discovered that it's way easier than I thought it was.
Is that exactly what it sounds like?
So drunken noodles is also called pad ki mao. It's a Thai dish, and
Oh,
there's different ways of making it, but essentially the story goes that some guy came home drunk and threw what he had in a pot, and it was good.
oh,
So, but
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty easy to make. But if I go to I think one of the reasons I really like to make that one is because if I go to a Thai restaurant and order pad ki mao, it's like $13, $14.
Oh,
And
yeah.
for $20, I can make a huge ass pot of like 5 huge helpings. So
Yeah.
it's just more affordable, and I can eat larger quantities of
That has been a
drunken
big
noodles.
adjustment recently of just like the amount of money that's spent on groceries versus eating out has been crazy, especially
Mhm.
because of the portion size and everything, and being able to make a whole lot more, like you said.
Mhm.
But at the same time, the convenience of just having somebody cook for you and bring it to you, having it be lukewarm in their car and soggy by the time it gets to you, it just is special sometimes.
Mhm.
But honestly, even though it is a lot of work to cook, a lot of times it's worth it.
Yeah, I am the kind of person though that I can't just do a little bit in the kitchen. So while I love cooking,
Uh-huh.
I don't cook that much. I eat a lot of frozen stuff. And that's just because once I'm in the kitchen, I'm in there for at least a good hour and a half.
Yeah. Time
Because
constraint stuff again.
I go overboard on everything. I'm not good at doing something quick and easy. I will find a way to make it take longer by doing more stuff. So,
Honestly, though, that is a good trait to have for a lot of things, especially creative endeavors, I would say.
yeah, but the problem is I also if so whenever I do make something, I never end up writing down what I've done. And so people will eat it and
Oh,
they're like, "Oh, this is really good. What'd you
yeah.
do?" And I just look at them and I shrug, and they're like, "Oh, so we'll never have it again." And I'm like, "Yep."
I'm gonna say that has definitely been a case whenever I would make some sort of like marinade for meat. I
Mhm.
really like just throwing random stuff in there.
Yeah, it's
But
like my brain knows what different spices and stuff go together. So you just
yeah,
mix the ones that go together together. And do I know which ones I put in there? No, but
yep,
they go together. So
yeah. I don't think any two of the marinades that I've made have been the same because I just refuse to measure anything. Like
exactly.
I
I'm
will think
100% with you.
I'll just think like, oh, what would be good in there? Oh, what would balance out with this or that? And, sometimes I'm wrong because I think recently I've been trying more ingredients from like, I got a big trip in at an Asian market. And
Ooh, yes.
so there's some stuff that I'm not really used to using. Like, I don't know what garlic vinegar really is. I mean, I know what it is. I can look at it and I can, smell what it is and etc. But I've never really used it in there. So I don't know how much of it to use yet. And I think the last time I tried to make some sort of marinade with it, it just like, it overpowered everything. So I need to figure out something to balance that one out.
Lots of trial and error with cooking.
Yeah, for sure.
Baking less so. Baking is so much
It's
more
science.
picky. Yeah. Baking is science. I like making macarons, but I can't make them most of the time because it's too humid.
Oh.
And if you know anything about macarons, humidity is not a macaron's friend.
Yeah. I've never had homemade ones before, but I could imagine what you're talking about, especially if they're trying to get like fluffed up in any sort of way.
So in order to have them fluff properly per se, you have to let the outside of it dry some. You can't let it dry too much and you can't let it dry too little, otherwise it doesn't form a proper shell. And with humidity, it doesn't like to dry. So
Okay. Yeah.
I can't make them most of the time, unfortunately, but they're tasty and I like them.
Yeah, probably not during the summer, like at all.
Or when it's raining.
Oh, yeah.
If it rains, it's like no macarons.
Interesting. I never would have thought of like the actual environment around it affecting something like that. Although
Yeah,
there's
the
probably
weather determines my baking ability.
There's probably some way around it, I imagine, but it probably wouldn't be worth it.
I'd have to have more equipment than I currently have with my single oven.
Yeah, like some sort of area to put things in that's like pressurized somehow. I have no idea.
Well, a lot of times with like the big bakers, they've got drying ovens essentially.
Yeah,
that can
drying
be
oven.
at a low enough temp that it helps it dry, but it doesn't cook it. And yeah, I don't have that. I just have normal oven.
Yeah, that almost seems like something you do to like clay,
Yeah, kind of.
sculpting, etc. Oh wait, did you ever get into any sort of crafts and arts like that?
I like sculpting stuff, but I've never really gotten too far into it. I've sculpted some stuff with Nomad Sculpt on my iPad, which is far more intuitive than Blender, as you're able to push and pull the substance as if it were clay, and you're able to just shape it. And that was fun, but I never got super far into that.
Yeah, there was an old one that was called Mudbox. I think it's discontinued now because they just threw the tools into some other program. And then there was another popular one called ZBrush, but I just couldn't. I don't know. I think it broke my brain too much to see like how high quality the stuff coming out from it was, and I was so used to like lower poly stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
And so, there's a little bit more control and stuff like that when you understand that only so many points form a line. And so you can form curves and stuff like that manually. But then once you introduce like thousands and thousands of those, it's like you kind of lose control and you have to think of it in a different way. And I kind of didn't really want to.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot of programs out there and they have all got their own thing.
Yeah, their own whole ecosystem, honestly. Well, on the food subject, what would be your drink of choice? Not necessarily having to be alcoholic, but what do you like to drink the most?
So I love tea. But I do not like I am a tea person. I'm a tea purist. Oh. I don't want cream. I don't want sugar. I don't want honey. I just want tea.
Ah.
Just give me just straight tea.
And
So
this is
the
where
exception is boba.
true.
Boba is the one exception.
It is a more of a part of the dessert aspect of it in that case, but I will say I think I never really gave tea much of a chance to be like that for myself, because I would always do it. I mean, obviously there's fruit tea where you can't put milk in it, but
well, some people do.
well, for powdered fruit tea, yeah, but usually if the milk is going to like curdle in there,
oh yeah, that'd
then
be icky.
yeah, that's just nasty. And I think I had to take a while to recognize that only black teas could handle milk. But
see, I never knew that because I just don't do it.
well, yeah, if it's not even an option for you to begin with, then true. But yeah, some fruit teas and stuff like that, if you really do want to trap somebody into drinking tea properly, as you say, then you're probably... Do you have a kettle with different temperatures on it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I use 85 degrees Celsius for my green teas, 95 for my black teas, and then I think I just use 85 for herbal stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I do have one that is like that, but I will say I do just slam it on 212 most of the time and put in a black tea and add brown sugar, at least.
Now, here's the question. Do you use like tea bags or do you use loose leaf?
Bag.
Yeah, I'm a loose leaf person too. I've got so many tins of loose leaf teas. It isn't even funny. I don't know if I'll ever be able to drink them before they go bad, but...
See, there used to be a spot. I don't think it's... Yeah, no, it was a national place. Did you like Tivana or no?
I did like Tivana, yeah.
Okay.
Because they had this berry one, a white tea with berries that was really tasty.
I think
it was called Youth Berry or something.
Yeah, that one. We do probably still have some of that that's like expired by now, but
expired just means less flavorful.
True. You just have to put more of it in there. But yeah, we did have the infusers and everything, but on the more regular side, I do have like I'm more of a bag person than a loose leaf person, just because tea is not something I tend to drink recreationally anymore. So I would mostly be adding it to other mixtures of, caffeinated drinks and stuff like that. So by now, tea is almost like an accessory to other things that I end up drinking.
Yeah,
because I had to stop drinking coffee.
I've never been a coffee person, but I have been drinking less tea recently because I've fallen victim to the energy drinks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Specifically, the Cosmic Stardust by Alani. I've given up. I love that one so much.
I've never even heard of that. I've been more of like a powdered energy drink type person now.
This one comes in a powder too. It comes in a can and a powder, and it tastes like pink Starburst. Yeah,
like I think I've kind of resigned myself to the fruity types of powders and things, and just I have a bunch of different flavors that I end up combining, but sometimes I will brew some tea and throw that in there.
Or
like brew like a green tea and throw it in there for just more of the taste of the tea.
Okay. Yeah. So like a fruity green tea is what it ends up tasting like.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
It's very familiar to me because I used to work at a place that had bubble tea. And so a lot of the things will end up tasting like some of those kinds of drinks because they would be infused with tea. So I'd like to do that now, and that's probably the most exposure that I have to tea recently.
Yeah, tea is good. And then for like other drinks, besides my awful energy drink obsession, like I love Mai Tais when it comes to other beverages.
Okay. Wait, what is the combination for that?
It is, I never say this right, so forgive me, but like it's orgeat syrup, I think is what it's called. It's basically like an almond syrup. It's that, it's rum, it's other rum, it's curacao, Not blue curacao, but like normal curacao. Like the not
Trust
blue
me,
one.
I'm not going to be able to correct you. I have never heard of any of this stuff.
Well,
Because,
what about rum and other rum?
yeah, I've definitely heard of rum for sure.
And then there's lime juice, and some people put orange juice in there as well.
Okay.
But it's like 90% just straight liquor. But it's
Well, it
so
sounds like it gets the
tasty.
job done for sure.
It's so tasty and fruity and delightful when done
Yeah.
correctly. I've had
Well,
some bad ones before, and those ones were real bad. But when it's done well, it's really good.
wait, so what is. So would the achievement for doing it well be that it tastes good or that it doesn't give you a hangover?
Tastes good.
Okay. So
It's
if
straight
it's.
liquor. You're just screwed either way.
Yeah, I guess that's
If you
probably
have
true.
enough.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I will reveal the fact that I've never once been a bartender. I'm literally just dressed like this and standing back here. So I have no idea about anything having to do with alcohol. And
I
even
bet you could
though,
make a rum and coke.
well, I mean, I can put two drinks together as I
There you
demonstrated
go. You
with
did
tea.
it. Yay!
Yeah. But I think maybe it's almost I could use several different excuses, but one of the things that I still always think about is like I like how little the things that I drink cost. So
Mm,
it does seem as though if I were to get onto that track of buying drinks and stuff like that, I feel like I would get so into it, like how I've done this weird mixology thing with all these energy drinks. I feel like I would start doing that with alcohol, and then I would
mhm.
start making myself sick, probably.
Yeah, my problem is I like a lot of alcohols that are when you get them cheap, they can be really, really bad. Like I
Oh,
like bourbons and whiskeys and
yeah.
stuff. I'm not usually a fruity drink person. I'm not a tequila person. Like rum, bourbon, whiskey, scotch. And I
Mhm.
mean, bourbon and scotch are both basically whiskey. So
Oh,
just different locations that they need to be made.
okay.
Bourbon's Kentucky and scotch is obviously Scotland. So, but
Uh-huh.
they're basically whiskey from specific places. So,
Oh, I didn't
but
actually know that.
but if you have them when they're bad, they're really bad. So
Yeah,
I don't usually get many cheap drinks unless it's just like a rum and coke because that's safe. That's good.
yeah. I guess. Hmm. What would you feel like is a good starter drink for somebody? I mean, other
Um,
than rum and coke, I suppose.
I mean, while I say I'm not a tequila person, margaritas are light and fruity, and if you get them done right, you don't really taste the tequila very much.
Okay.
Um, because tequila is made from agave, so it's really just sweet. If it's a good margarita, and I feel like those are pretty easy for most people to drink.
Okay. Is it bad that I don't know what agave is either?
It's a big plant. Think like fancy aloe.
Oh, aloe. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's
I.
not aloe, but think like really big looking aloe like
Oh, okay.
plant.
So adjacent to something like that, then. Yeah.
Yeah, adjacent.
Mhm. All right. That makes more sense in my brain then, because I think what I would imagine when people said agave was something green. Is it green?
I think it's like it's green. It's green.
Okay. Well, we'll just leave it at that. Well, I do have a question before the last question. Uh, what is some good news that you can share?
Good news that I can share.
Hmm.
I really like the being a VTuber thing. Uh,
That's good
I
news.
was, I was doing it kind of on a whim. I've been on a whim this whole time. I was just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah.
I was just like, might as well. I'll play some video games, maybe make a friend,
Hmm.
and that'll be it. But like, I'm having a lot of fun with it. So,
Yeah. It's been super nice, honestly. And I would say, especially recently with all the Bunopolis stuff, of course.
Mhm.
It's been nice being able to meet some people in like an easier setting, because what I felt like before was that I was like scooping out a place in like there were just so many VTubers, you know?
Mhm.
And it's like I have no idea who exactly to talk to. I had no idea who to really say much or reply to, or it didn't really have much of a direction for me, I guess, until all of this started happening. And so now I feel like I have more of something that I want to do specifically. Like, obviously, I'm going to do more things than just the podcast,
Yeah.
but you know, it's given me a chance to do what I kind of wanted to do to begin with and just have a way to talk to people. And, you know, that's been more of an important thing to me about being a VTuber than the being a VTuber part.
Mhm.
Because I find it to be fun, of course. I find being able to get on stream and just share random stuff with people or play games or collab with people, that's been fun. But I think more than anything, what kind of got me into VTubing was the fact that it looked like people were having so much more fun with each other than they would have been otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a reason why we would have met other than this very, very specific instance in which we both thought, oh, you know, being an anime character would have been cool. It's like,
Very true.
yeah, now there's like hundreds, thousands of people who also thought the same. Like, I never would have imagined that this would be the place where we're at, but we're at it. So it's been
Yeah.
fun.
But yeah, my good news is just that this is fun. I like
Yeah.
it. I didn't get into it to try and, make it a thing or try to make money. I just got into it just because, I don't know, I felt like it and I wanted to play some games and it looked like fun. So
Yeah. And I
my
think
good news is I'm happy.
that is great news, honestly. And I think probably a large part of what I envision with all this is like there's people who would not be talking to each other otherwise.
Mhm.
Like, not even just the two of us. I can't think of a reason why a lot of the people that I've seen in VTubing would have met under any other circumstances than this one. And I find that to be really fun.
It is for sure.
But yeah, I think for the last question, do you have any questions for me?
Well, we've talked about art a lot on this podcast so far. So what kind of art do you really like to do? Like, what's your favorite thing to draw or style? Just what brings you joy?
Well, what brings me joy is not drawing at the moment.
Oh, no!
But you know, you probably understand that answer as an artist because when you're
Mhm.
out of it, you are out of it. But
Yeah, I was trying to make a dancing emote the other day, and I was vibing with it until I wasn't, and now I just can't continue. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to touch it. I'm done.
I think that's been one of the biggest problems is that I will start something that I know will take me a very, very long time. And then I will look at it for so long that I never want to see it again. But then I still have to finish it. But then I
Yes.
think, well, what if I didn't? I don't.
So
And
what's got
so-
you stuck right now?
I don't know. I think it's probably just like
Artist block?
it might be a dependence on streaming it, actually.
Mm.
Because I've given myself the excuse not to work offline because I do art streams sometimes.
Mm.
And so I feel like, oh, why don't I save it for doing an art stream? But then I used to just fire up the program and draw myself or draw, you know, anime type things. I would mostly, because of the way that I started out, I draw mostly original characters for people. And so the transition into everybody becoming a VTuber has been pretty smooth for me because everybody's still their own characters. So that's been pretty easy. But I have ideas for things sometimes. Like I'll be watching a stream and something funny will happen and I'll think, oh, that'd be funny to draw that later. And then I don't do it because it takes so much effort. And then I think, oh, well, it would be fun to stream that. And then I don't. And so it's like just this time juggling thing where it's like, it would be so much easier not to do this.
Well, you said you watch stuff a lot. So
yeah.
Do you only do art digitally, or would it be good for you to just have an art pad in front of you, just like if you ever just felt like it? It might be a good way to break out of the having to stream it if you do it on paper.
Honestly, I've been thinking about doing that more recently because that's honestly the most consistent way that I've been able to just start a drawing is just pen and paper or pencil and paper. But I do have the tools to do that. But what I don't have is the attention span. So when I'm watching something else, oftentimes I will have to make it a game that I'm playing on the side in order to multitask. But it has to be like a mindless kind of game. And I know that you're into a few gacha games, so, you know. Obviously, I will just be sitting here doing like dailies in some game or something like that because it's just repetitive clicking, trying to get all the little red markers to go away.
Get rid of the exclamation points. That's the thing I hate most in this world is opening a game and seeing exclamation points.
Yep. And it gets me every single time. Even in games where it's like, oh, they made a different symbol to put up there. It's like, you know. This may as well all have been an exclamation point, and you know it. But yeah, I think it's just, I've been so tunnel visioned on so many different things that it feels like it's so much easier to just pick a little grouping of things to get done and get that done. And so I would have to do a lot of movement in order to get something like a regular art routine going. I would love to do that. I think what I'm going to honestly try and do is like try and draw at lunch or something like that.
I think almost for you, it sounds like having something irregular, like something not in a routine, would be good. Because it sounds like you're trying to commit to a routine and then you put the routine off and that it just turns into a cycle.
Yeah, I think that's honestly one of the things that happened with learning digital art is I broke it down all into steps, and every single time,
routinized.
Yeah, it's like I think, all right, well now it's time to do this, and once I get to the stage that I don't like, which is mostly line art, well, I have a hard out, and I oftentimes will just take that out and not continue a drawing.
I see.
Now, there have been some interesting developments in Clip Studio Paint recently.
What are the interesting developments?
Well, they added some different features of like coloring assistance.
What?
Now,
I don't have Clip Studio, so.
Well, yeah, it's still honestly worth getting. I don't think this is like an AI thing actually, but it approximates where the shading would be on what you're doing.
What?
And yeah, it actually can be adjusted on the fly, and it helps you place where the shading goes. Now, it is not perfect. It is not fallible, or it is infallible rather, and it's very, very useful. But I feel
I hate shading.
Yeah, no. I like shading to a degree, but I hate approximating where everything goes, and this does exactly that.
Oh my god.
It does not adjust it based on materials or anything like that. It's not the most specific thing in the world, but it gives you a baseline to work with it. And I definitely want to actually get into more drawings because of that. Like, it's actually innovative in a way that I do enjoy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope that's super helpful. It sounds like it would be.
Yeah, for sure. But it does require me to do more lines. So it's kind of a toss up, but it's like there's a reward at the end of like, okay, I finally have a little bit of help doing this thing that I
Hmm.
have a really hard time doing. Because even if it's like, even if I look at the guides of where it placed everything and just turn it off and then do my own,
Hmm.
like that is way more helpful than just sitting there and having to imagine where all the light sources are coming from. It actually
Yeah.
lets you place light sources within the tool
Oh my
and adjust
God.
it. It's actually crazy.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's really,
Because
really good.
I
I'll
tried
show you a
drawing my
video on it
room.
later.
I tried drawing my room and
Uh-huh.
and doing the shading and pretending where the imagining where the light source was and everything was so tedious because
Yeah.
I have so many little things that I needed to shade, and I just it ugh, that would
Yeah.
be delightful.
If there is I don't know how it would affect rooms because I think it's mostly based on
Mm,
forms, but honestly, if you're able to isolate the objects and give them all a different or give them all the same spot in the lighting, you would actually be able to have all the shadows in a relatively correct place.
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's $50, but it's a one-time purchase. I think they have that option now. They've had a little bit of a kerfuffle about their
Uh-oh.
pricing recently because they're trying to go to a subscription model like every other thing that
Oh,
everyone
I
hates.
hate the subscription model.
Yep.
I like
Um,
Procreate because I bought it once and I'm good.
yeah. I do think they still have a one-time purchase option, but I think what they're basically trying to do is do updates on the monthly pay version and
Mm,
then give the one-time pay versions the updates later. So you're
but
essentially paying for priority by doing the monthly
so you still
indefinite.
get everything, but it's just at a delay almost.
Yeah, I think. But I would have to be totally sure on that. Some fact checking is required because I
It's still
don't know.
stupid.
Yeah,
Still stupid.
I definitely hate it because if you remember that program I was talking about before, Maya,
Mhm.
it is a professional industry standard 3D program. And you know what they originally the one-time purchase cost of it was?
What?
$4,000. Yep.
Uh, ew.
Yep. And do you know what the monthly pricing is?
A 40.
Nope. $145 a month.
No.
So that's why I
No,
want to learn
absolutely
Blender.
not.
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid. That's extra stupid. That's
Mm-hmm.
fucked, is what that is.
Yep. Absolutely. And so there is there is no way I'm ever getting back into Maya because that is the pricing for it. So I would basically have to use Blender
Ew.
if I wanted to do anything else.
Ew. Big ew.
Yeah. But no, they get really grimy with that, and that's why I don't use anything from Adobe. Um, so, bad memories of that set of programs for sure
Mm.
in regards to monthly charges and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier I do some photography and I haven't had Photoshop in a long time. I prefer it over Lightroom, but it's just the monthly stuff is just not my
Yeah.
jam. I might have an Element CD somewhere. Maybe one day I'll scrounge it up.
Yeah. Well, I think I would probably get mine off the coast of Kosovo. So,
Mm.
you know, I would just much rather get into some sort of way to download it. Just a way
I just
that I could
realized
think
that
of.
even if I scrounged up my lovely CD or DVD or whatever the fluff it's called of Elements, I don't have a CD drive on my computer.
Yeah, who
So
does have any of those
I
anymore?
don't know. I have so many USB and USB-C ports, but nothing else.
Yeah, they don't even make them like that anymore, honestly. Um, do I? I actually do for some reason, but I had it put in from an old one though. So I just so happened to get a case that still has the port on there, but
yeah,
most of them don't even have that.
I've got your standard issue build your own gaming PC with no port for that.
Yeah. Wait, when you built your PC, did it actually... Did you find it to be as easy as everyone said?
I had help because I didn't like how much pressure it took to put the pieces in. It freaked me out because it felt like, because everyone's like, oh yeah, you just gotta push hard, and my brain says push hard, break thing.
Yes.
So every time that I was trying to click something in, at some point I felt like I was pushing too hard and I had to give it to someone else to push it in the rest of the way.
100%.
Like I knew where everything went. I know how to assemble the PC, but I'm a scaredy bun, and I didn't want to break nothing.
Yeah, I was exactly the same way, and frankly, I still am. I hate opening up the PC, even though I currently have a drive that is dead inside my PC.
You should get that fixed.
Yeah, you'd think, but what if I don't want to? Like, what if I don't want to move my setup and open up my PC?
I mean, valid point.
Yeah, so, you know, I just let it sit there. It doesn't harm anybody. It doesn't even turn on. It's connected, but...
But you could have a working drive.
Oh, I could.
You could.
But
you
I
don't have to, but you could.
Well, I just deleted some stuff off the other one, so I could use that, so that's fine.
Goodness.
Honestly, I've been horrible with my PC care, but I did start another shell of another one to get, because my main issue is that I reached a point with the motherboard where I can't upgrade things anymore unless I get a different motherboard. So,
Gotcha.
At that point, you might as well get a whole different setup going, because you're gonna have to move everything on there anyway.
Yeah, way back when I posted a picture of my PC and everyone made fun of my motherboard.
Oh,
and I was very sad because I got the middle-sized one. I think it is called like mid-sized. It's not the mini.
Yeah.
But it's the, it's not as long. It's just as wide. It's just not as long.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, it looks stupid in your case. Your motherboard's too small. And I'm like, my motherboard does everything your motherboard does.
Yeah.
I don't need it to be bigger. It's fine.
Yeah.
It does the things. Everything plugs in.
But unfortunately now, once they start doing all these advancements and things, and you sort of get an idea of what else you could be doing with a better computer, it starts getting at you. Or at least it starts getting at me.
I mean, my main thing is if I can play Genshin and run VTube Studios at the same time. My PC's doing some good work. It's doing what it needs to do, and it's doing it well, and it's not overheating, and I will take that, because VTube Studios is a little bitch when it comes to power hogging and, overheating. So. And
then, with the streaming at the same time, it would be great to have a better CPU, because I just keep seeing this encoding error over and over and over again, and it's like...
You keep getting an error?
Well, it's just like, it'll warn me about something, but then everything's fine. And so I'm not entirely sure.
I'm suspicious.
Oh yeah, you probably should be. I mean, if you saw a picture of the interior of my PC, well, you'd probably be even more suspicious. Especially since I have one of the intake fans pointing downwards inside of the PC, and the front fan is also not working, and
you need a better cooling system.
I haven't dusted out the PC since last year.
Oh my.
But I mean, it's working fine. I turn it on and I do things.
I mean, fair, valid, true.
I have been, and you know what's crazy? Well, the drive that died is from a PC that was like maybe 15 years old now.
Mhm.
And so I would just keep this HDD plugged in, and every other PC that I've transferred all of these parts to, I'll just keep all the old ones.
Mm.
And it finally died, and I think probably the H drive is next. But those will be the last two HDDs in there. So I do intend to get better SSDs soon. Maybe within the next couple months.
Yeah, I only made my PC this last year, so it's fairly new.
Yeah.
Less than a year ago is when I built it. So it has some fairly new stuff. It doesn't have, like top of the line CPU or anything, because those are frickin' expensive.
Yes,
But
they are.
I mean, my setup's pretty good, so.
Wait, what kind of graphics card did you end up getting?
I always forget the number. I think it's a 3060 Ti.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just a 30. No, it's a plain 3060, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm at around there, like 3070, something like that.
Yeah, it's off the top of my head, I don't remember, but I have it all on my Twitch about specs section.
Yeah.
So
it was about the same for me. It was the largest purchase I could justify in terms of that. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. Not the 3080, not the whatever. I don't really know that I need top of the line. Although I do have some ideas for that, because there is another 3D program recently that came out that I feel like would be excellent for this show in particular, especially because it has hand tracking that you can use with your webcam, and it's built in along with everything else.
That's pretty nifty.
Yeah. I was very surprised. I can run it by itself though, but I cannot run it and run games. So
Gotcha.
That's kind of the issue. It's like, if I want that to go away, then I do have to upgrade my computer again. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. A lot of these things are very CPU hoggy, RAM hoggy, all of the hoggy. Hogging all of the parts.
It's like
the power,
hogs on top of
everything.
hogs. And now, like, I ended up getting an i9 or something like that. But it's
That's
the
better
absolute.
Than what I got.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't even really know what the Intel side of things has to offer anymore, because everything basically screams go AMD for the CPU now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I have an i7.
Yeah, I had that for the longest time, and I got the i9, and it was a little bit faster, but this is the best it can do now. So I'm at an impasse, and I have to do something else with the motherboard in order for anything to work.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully that is a easy remedy and not like a have to buy all new parts remedy.
Yeah, but I mean, I think probably I was gonna do it anyway, so I may as well use it as an excuse. Why not?
Might as well. If you're able to, then why not?
Well, I am getting paid 3 times more at this job than I was at the previous one, so, may as well start saving.
Pretty good. I'm still waiting for one of my independent contracts to kick in. That's the one that makes me the money.
Yeah, I'm having to get used to, like, doing things like a human, because I just could not save money before, and so it was one of those interesting cases where it's like, I can't believe this is how normal people operated, just being able to buy something and not worry about it as much.
Yeah. I was like that when I took a break from making mochi to teach, and being able to just buy stuff and do stuff was really nice. But then I was just so miserable. I was like, I'm gonna go back to making mochi and doing like 10 bazillion other things because teaching sucks.
Yeah. At some point you do have to balance your sanity, and unfortunately sometimes that requires a pay cut. And yeah, I just happened to luck into something that was good enough for me to keep going, and actually managed to cut down on some of the stress that I was having for so many different reasons. But I'm happy to be on the other side of it for the most part. And I do, of course, still have to take a lot of time out of my day to do that job, but I think it's kind of worth it to be able to actually just have something and not be in survival mode. So
yeah, I'm more in survival mode financially now, which is one of the reasons why models and everything I've made myself.
yeah.
But like, God, that job was just so bad.
Yeah.
Like when I say I'm burnt out, I'm a very burnt out bun. I'm as burnt out as a person or a bun can be. So
yeah, it definitely reaches a point where it's like, if I go here one more day,
yes,
then it's like something bad's gonna happen and nobody's gonna like this outcome. So we have to stay home.
One of the people I worked with came to work and quit that day. He wasn't planning to do that. He just did it because he just couldn't take one more second. And I had another person on my team quit halfway through the year. Like, this school was absolutely murdering people's mental health.
Yeah.
And I think there were a few times that, like, while teaching, I just had to go to the bathroom and cry, or like it was not good. It was very not good. And it was not the kids' fault. It was the school's fault.
And once you get pushed to a certain point, it's like it wouldn't even matter if it was the school's fault or not. It would be like just stepping into the place one more time would be like too much. And
I went to go see my young little buns graduate a few months ago, and I could feel my heart rate increasing as I was driving back to that town. Like, I could feel the anxiety rising. And like, I knew I was not going to work. I knew I don't go there. I don't live near there anymore. I don't have to deal with that anymore.
And it just brings it all back.
Just knowing that I had to go back into that town and see some of those people, it was awful.
Yep. But hey, honestly, more power to being able to get on and be a VTuber and forget all of the stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Because sure. I think that is honestly one of the things that helps keep me sane in regards to all that, because there's people out there who have no idea about any of the specifics of what I was going through, who will just see me as, a random bunny hopping around on the internet and doing silly stuff, and whatever they get out of that is whatever they get out of that.
Yeah. And I will say that VTubing is building my confidence a lot, because being in a workplace environment like that, you're just constantly being berated, and it's always, you need to do more, you need to do more, you need to do more, which is the equivalent of saying you're not good enough.
Exactly.
And I know that's not what the intention is, but that's the way it comes off.
It's the result. That's the
way it feels. So going from feeling like I was never good enough to just coming online and not pretending, I'm like, I don't want to be a VTuber that's a character. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I just want to be me, and I just want to have a good time. Like, I don't want to fake anything. So being able to come online and just be me and not have to worry about what people think of me, and still having people enjoy my content and like enjoy being around me, a whole world of difference.
It's been a ton of fun. Yeah. And I definitely know, because it's removing the judgment that people will initially have of like who you are or what you look like or anything like that. That has been the most enticing part about it to me, because obviously there's a lot of people who get into streaming for a different reason, but I feel like it's just so much more fun to be able to just do what you want and just be a little guy. And it's like, everybody's judgment can be changed based on what they see me do and what they see other people do. And just most of the time, what I want to give to them is like, I'm having some fun, or I'm just doing whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah. And I think that's good.
Yeah. And you get to actually share bits of happiness with people and, you know, just get to hang out. And I definitely appreciate all of that.
For sure.
Well, guess what?
What?
It's 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
It goes pretty fast, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Well,
it probably doesn't hurt that I'm super chatty.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. And honestly, I have faith in a lot of the people who are here to be able to do that, because I know that one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show is because I'm really bad at talking to myself. And so when I'm just getting up on here doing like a just chatting or doing anything like that, I run out of things to say so quickly, because I am perfectly content to just sit in silence and like play a game and not even think about much. But when it comes to being able to just chat with people, I really do like talkative people, because it's much easier to listen, you know? So
I agree.
I'm definitely looking forward to some of the upcoming episodes for reasons of like, and Hyvel is so chatty. It's so funny to me.
I believe it.
But I have faith in a lot of these conversations that they're going to be fun, and I do believe this one was as well.
Yay,
so thank you for coming
I had
on.
fun too. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And do you have anything to plug?
Follow me at Tsuki_Moonbunny on Twitter and Twitch and things. Yes.
And of course, follow the Bunopolis channel if you're not doing that already.
Yes,
and
Bunopolis. Very, very good. Yes.
Yeah, we've heard of that. It's right there in the corner.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Check us
well,
out.
isn't that crazy?
What a coincidence.
This will be coming out like weeks and weeks after all the debut stuff is done. So it'll be like, oh, we're already several weeks into this, but honestly,
hey,
I think it'll have been fun.
It's good.
Yeah, we did a really, really good job. All of the collabs went super well. And we didn't say anything crazy on Jackbox.
Speak for yourself, maybe, possibly.
Well, you know, I actually did. That was genuinely my first experience with that game.
Really?
Yeah.
I was sad that I had to leave so early because I was already dehydrated and stuff from work, so.
Speaking of which, I should probably end soon so I can drink some water.
Yeah, I should probably chug some water before I go to bed because it's going to be hot tomorrow, but the storm has come through. So it will be cooler. Thank God.
Yeah. Oh, wait. It was storming last night, too. Well, I am going to go ahead and go and end this recording. I'll probably do some other weird outro thing. I'll leave that up to Archie, though.
Sounds good. But it really was fun. I did have a good time, so I hope you did, too.
I did, too. Yeah, for sure. And I do also have to tell you that this is not a one-time thing, necessarily. I want to have people on later episodes because obviously there's a whole lot more room than just, one person in here. What I wanted to do was have like a wheel spin type thing where 2 guests can come on at once. And obviously they'd have to be, agreeing to the wheel spin or how everything came out, etc. But once we've gone through everybody individually, I want to have people back, but have them able to bring somebody.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yeah. So that should be fun in the future. So this is not the last time, but
yay!
Unless you want it to be, of course.
No, I think it would be fun to come back.
But yeah, Thank you for coming on,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna go ahead and go.
All
See
right,
ya.
me too. See ya. Bye.